Perfect.
Okay, any questions?
No, it's great. All right, I gotta figure out how to get to. Perfect.
That's you, Doug.
All right, so this is me. Excellent. So, each quarter we're doing a lot, and so we're kind of highlighting the big events that we have each quarter. And Q2 was obviously our big quarter because the Wrestling Sprint happens in the second quarter. We're down about 30% than where our max would be, but we were up 50% over last year. So we're coming out of COVID. All right. And it's, of course, the first time we were able to do it on our normal date since the pandemic started. So we were excited about that. As you can, I guess I'm starting at the bottom, almost 740 registrations, 110,000, which that's a great number, but we really need about 100. We would expect about 130 to 140 when we're at capacity. So that's what we're shooting for next year. And you'll see that reflected in the financials as a gap there. The Friends of Lake Anne, they launched their Saturday craft markets. If you ever go down to Lake Anne Plaza here in Reston and you go past the farmers market and you see all those crafts vessels, that's you. That's the Core Foundation. Okay. We support the Friends of Lake Anne and they do all they organize all of that. And that brings a big community together down there. As you can see, last year, it brought in about $36,000 in revenue for the Friends of Lake Anne. Reston Pride, this is the second year or third year? Fourth year, wow. So Reston Pride is getting bigger and bigger. As you can see, they've raised almost $28,000. It's the same weekend as the Reston Sprint, which causes a little bit of divide. Like I can't be over there as much as I'd like to be because I'm here, but the community, it brings a real excitement. And of course, it's held in June, which is Pride Month. And so all those three events happened in the second quarter for the foundation, and all were, of course, possible because of support we give.
It was fantastic this year. Pride.
It's really,
it was so much fun.
They've really got their.
I just walked through. I was like, oh my God.
They've got their rhythm.
It's great.
Yeah. Well, next time you walk through, don't hesitate to, mention your affiliation with Core and thank them for all the work, because these Core cause leaders put a ton of work. Yes. We get to put it up on a slide. And Mary, of course, does a ton of work to support them, and Tara does a ton. But for the rowdy, those Core cause leaders put a lot of work in to make that successful. So if you do see someone and you're, just don't hesitate to introduce yourself and thank them for all that they do.
Tara, that's an intro slide. Oh, great. Okay. So Core Care's internal projects. So if we take a step back, what we tried to do a couple of years ago was start a cadence of events that allow our sponsors, our supporters, and partners to really travel the year with us as Core Foundation. So those events right now are the Core Golf Classic, which Jason's going to talk about in a minute, which was extremely successful this year and has attracted a really exciting new supporter base for Core. The Reston Sprint Triathlon, the Reston Superhero Triathlon, and then the Giving Gallon Community Hero Award. So what we also did is our sponsor package now includes all of those events, so that if you become a Core sponsor, there's a place for you to market and so forth and participate in all of our events and volunteer as well. So.
And of course, those are unlike the Core causes where we only get 10% to pay for the legal and the insurance and the bookkeeping and all those things. And you'll see when we've now delineated income revenue stream by project, you'll see that's not a moneymaker. If anything, it's a loss. In other words, we know we're losing money. The amount of support we give to make all this possible costs more than the 10% that is provided. And that's fine. I mean, that's the whole model. We're trying to incubate them and get them to be able to go to get bigger. So these events are critical to balancing things out, right? Because all of these, the revenue goes to the foundation to offset that. So, when we talk, yes, Danielle.
I'm going to bring something up, and then let's just park it. But in terms of the 10% fee, love the 10% fee. We don't want to discourage anyone. Right. But can we have 10% a minute or a minimum of $250?
Okay.
A year, or a minimum of whatever.
Right. Yeah, no, I like that idea. So,
Just a minimum of 5,000, otherwise they have to pay another business sponsor. No, I think she's saying a minimum to be a core cause of care. We actually have that in the contract. Let's talk about it later.
I love that.
We're
Yeah,
already on that.
perfect. Because it's a good point that even if they don't do a lot, we still have to account for them. We have to still report for, there's still a work effort, even if they don't do anything, because they're on our books. That's an excellent point.
Yeah, we've not enforced it. Yeah.
Perfect.
And the next slide is James.
The golf tournament, great event. I think we had a few less people this year than last year turn out.
I think, I don't
Number
know.
one.
About that even. We had one person not show up, so
Okay.
it looked a little lighter. And the way that the golf carts were in a big long line, we actually were about the same.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Which was great. It's always going to be an effort to get, obviously, the more participants, the better. Everyone loved it. Course was great. I think there was some people mentioning, Reston National versus a bougie country club like last year. I really personally don't think that makes a huge difference, but to some it can.
Oh, were they saying they liked the nicer club? That's what they're saying?
Not that they were just making an observation.
That the course was.
Yeah, I don't, like I said, but at the end of the day, the course was in great shape. People had a good time. I think Reston might have been a little bit understaffed for some stuff. And then the other only.
Like what?
As far as like getting people circulating around the golf course,
Okay.
it was a little, last year, there was just like, they were constantly
Moving people along.
moving people around
Okay.
and the beer cart going around and,
Okay.
and, they were just a little slower. And
Okay.
again, I think that maybe just less resources by them. I think it was overall extremely positive. Again, looking for any areas to get better. There was some feedback regarding the raffle items.
Right.
Where I think that's kind of low hanging fruit. I mean, for example, we could maybe get Gregorio's to donate a dinner for 4 and people would,
So they would have liked more to is that what they're saying? Or the
more-
quality of it?
it seemed like it was all like spa or facials.
Got it. Okay.
And so everyone was like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Not my thing.
Was there any feedback about the proximity of the course? Because, here we were in Reston, people didn't have to drive as far.
That's what I'm saying. So people they said, oh, international was great. And it's a country club versus a municipal course. But again, the course was in great shape and being local. I mean, that to me was not that big of an issue. I mean, I don't know the financials behind. Is it more expensive to go to international or Fairfax or?
Algonquian is another couple course, but
Too many bugs.
Sports Boosters has had really great success there. It was
Yeah.
very exciting.
Yeah.
Reston, I would prefer
I would
over
prefer Reston,
Algonquian
yes.
all day.
And I think, so, I'll take full responsibility. I know that I wanted it here in Reston. I
Sure.
think the bulk of our supporters and sponsors, that may be Suzanne. The bulk of our supporters and sponsors are here in Reston.
Absolutely.
And we're developing a strong partnership with the owners of Reston National, who have more of an interest, in my opinion, of being a community partner. Not that ICC wasn't interested in being a community partner, but when you think of the alignment in terms of the folks coming are also residents, in other words, are right here in Reston.
Sure.
Right. And anyone could be a public course. They wouldn't have to, do
No,
membership.
definite, leveraging the synergy of everything else that we do here in Reston makes sense for it to be here. I would definitely recommend doing it there again. That's my 2 cents. I mean, like I said, I think there's a lot to be gained from keeping it local with, and maybe again, continue to go out a little harder for more, local businesses for sponsorships and, players, again, getting some things. We wouldn't be hard to add to a few things for like a 50-50 raffle. If you can just buy tickets,
right.
stuff like that. That's
a good
easy
idea.
To pick up some additional revenue there.
And Tara, we have plans of she being involved in this next year, correct?
Sure.
Okay.
Fantastic. Well, yeah. Anything else?
No, not the
So,
closing.
and you'll see the names of the the 4 core committee. We can't do everyone can't do every event. So it's really great to have folks sign up and say, look, this is the event and I'm going to help support. John Brennan, Gretchen, Gretchen, who came in. We kind of found her when she came in late, not because of her, but because we found her, and she just came in with an injection of energy. Kevin Witt, obviously Tara, a huge supporter there, work kind of making things happen. Dan Clark, Mark Moody, and Ted, our board member, Ted Craig. So yeah, it was really nice to have a board member on that. And I would say that as we look at these internal events, if there's an event as a board member that you kind of like, it's great to have a board member on those committees, if that makes sense. Like someone who kind of our eyes and ears, you don't have to host, you don't have to chair it. But if there's, if you say, you know what, I don't mind sitting on the gala committee, or I don't mind sitting on the youth tri committee to kind of help out. Again, again, you don't have to lead it, but it's nice to have a board member as part of that. So don't hesitate if you see some of these internal ones that you are wanting to be involved with, to let the committee know. Great.
Could I
Thanks.
just add something here? So the wrap-up meeting for the golf tournament will be next Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. I'm hosting it. So if anybody would like to attend, James, it would be great to get your feedback in that
Sure.
meeting. If you got some different feedback, that would be awesome to hear. Anyone's invited to attend. We'll pick the date for next year. We're looking at either, I believe it's the 11th or 17th, the second or third Monday in July of next year. We're going to go ahead and get registration open so that when we send out the email, the post wrap-up email, all that information is in there and save the date for next year.
Fantastic. And that's a new model for us this year, which I think, we're experimenting. I think that's going well, is that almost when one event's done, we open registration for the following year. So as people have that kind of enthusiasm, excitement, and they can immediately register for the following year. Great.
All right, so this is Jen D. Taking the first part of the slide here. Yeah.
So the Reston Superhero, well, first of all, hi, I'm Jen. I don't think I know any of you. Yeah. So I'm new to CORE as a new race director, and super excited to bring the youth tri back to Reston. Many of you are familiar with Amy's Amigos and possibly a triathlon that was run through the Y that I had a big connection with. And then now I'm here with Doug and Jen and Tara and Mary, and I'm very excited. So the Reston Superhero Youth Triathlon is July 31st of this year. Last we checked, we had 90 kiddos registered. Of those, 98 of them are scholarship kids, so basically free.
Wait,
So
how
we have
many?
82 paid.
Okay, so nine, or how many are scholarship?
Eight.
Eight, got it.
What did I say, 82? I meant 82 are paid. So our goal for this year was between 100 to 150. So the triathlon community obviously has been hit hard by COVID. The youth triathlon community has been leveled by COVID. So this will be the first youth triathlon in Reston since 2018. So the fact that we are putting this on, basically leaning forward before anyone else has, I think says a lot about the youth triathlon community. And the numbers are 10 less than I want. So Mary will be sending out a last push email probably Tuesday when we get back to get, hopefully, Tara seems to think we're going to get above 100. I think we're going to be at 100.
It's July 31st.
Yeah, so the last,
I'm gonna bet for 108.
okay, well, we'll take bets.
I'm going for 150.
I know, so Tara originally said 125, but I'm shooting for 100 would be our goal. But more importantly about this triathlon, just for me personally, I have, if you go back to the other slide, the two kids on the bottom, those are mine. So this means a lot to me, just to bring health and wellness and exercise back to the community. As I mentioned before, COVID really, really impacted a lot of youth. We're just, youth sports just stopped for some time. And so to bring this back to Reston is huge, and it's awesome, and I'm so excited. It is July 31st. We do need volunteers, so guys know anyone that would like to help, I will take all of them. We also, many of you know Laura Tara, I'm gonna let you talk about Laura Learning and the shelter outreach that we have. And
Brett's gonna talk about it.
oh, nice. And then, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot, sorry. And then we added the adaptive and para-athlete component this year with a partnership with USAT. Right now, we have 2 para-athletes that are signed up, which I know sounds small, but I think when you look at youth triathlons, the history of youth triathlons, this isn't really a component that has even really been on the market as kiddos to be able to choose from. So the fact that we're able to add this and bring it to Reston again, I think it's huge. So
Any idea on the possible entrance that could be?
So that's a really good question, and I don't know. So there are 2, well, I guess I should say 1 community, the Falcons, that we are working with. It's a challenging weekend, what we are finding. So, and I think as we go into our 2023 discussion, this is something we can continue to talk about, because I think we were so excited to get this.
Is it Brett? Yeah.
It's on. It's probably. So we were so excited to bring the youth triathlon to, back to the forefront again. We chose a date working with RA that kind of worked with everybody. I think as we go into 2023 and we look at future planning as far as dates, I have learned, especially having 2 small kids, that is like the end of summer sports, the beginning of fall sports that weekend. So the end of July, beginning of August is a little challenging for families. So to answer your question, I don't really know. We are literally putting our toes in the water with this, and hopefully, with additional community outreach in 2023, we will be able to drive. Because I mean, it's, and I think from the adaptive and para component that I think most people don't understand is it can be a cognitive disability as well. Like it doesn't have to be like, like one of the kiddos who is racing, his family are dear friends of mine, and his is all speech. And so he actually falls into that category, right? So I'm learning as well as we go along. So I did not know that. So because, when you think about watching a triathlon on TV, you think about the amputee in the wheelchair, right, going down the course, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that. It can, it could be an autistic child. It could be anything under that umbrella of adaptive or para.
What the capacity, like how many people can we register? So like 125, 150?
So no, we can, when in years past, the largest that we've had is 350.
350, back when the Y and RA were doing that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's great you have 80. I really do. I mean, that's 80 people, probably more than you had last year or even for that.
Well, we
Yeah.
didn't have it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the
So,
point is
yeah.
now we're gonna be out there in force and people are gonna be like, oh yeah.
We
We're gonna
lost
do
that, we
next
lost
year.
that youth community because it's been like 4 years.
Yeah, and I think that to
Totally
Jen's
back.
point, so what's happened here, I think is just incredible in that, one, I never complain about low numbers the first time we do an event. All right. Even Amy's didn't start off at 350, 250, right? So one, everybody's learning again. It's the first one in 4 years. And you're dealing with kids. So I'm excited about that. Jen's being very modest. This is her idea. She's doing this. She also was the co-director for the Reston Sprint. And you're going to see a lot more of her. God willing, if she's going to, hang with us, because I could see her really any triathlon the Core Foundation does under her leadership. So she's just been instrumental there. The para adaptive, the parents are learning too. Parents, They don't know what this is, but they are so excited that there could be an opportunity for their child, but the child's never done anything. They has never really participated in sports or done this. So they've got to learn too that this is available. And the fact that USAT is going to have a para coach on site to educate parents. So even if you're talking to someone or know someone that has a child that's in that space, maybe they're not comfortable competing yet because they don't really understand what this is. They should come that day and listen to the coach, because it's all designed about helping bring them into the community. We already know the power of multi-sport for young people who are at risk and what it does for their confidence, right? It boosts their confidence. Well, we're hopeful the same thing starts to happen with children that need a win, right? And having a program that's designed to help them, I think, will be really powerful as well. So I put that there. It's got a QR code. If you want to take a picture of it and shoot it out to friends, again, we do want to get as much notice out to give as many people an opportunity to compete.
How are the scholarships funded?
We just don't charge.
Could we fund them? Can we reach out and have
Sure.
businesses, community?
Sponsor the kids.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, that would be huge.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So that I think we'll talk about that at the 2:00 timeframe as far as I have a plan of how I want to move forward with 2023 as far as raising funds, and look at building a youth tri board as well that will help in the community outreach. And
I think that would be,
because yes, I mean, just having conversations with people about opportunity for underprivileged youth in our community to be able to race, because you have to consider it's incredibly intimidating when you think I need a bathing suit, possibly goggles, a bike, a helmet, running shoes. I mean, if you are a low income family in this area, you've already taken yourself out of the race because you know that you don't have the ability to provide that for your child. So if we are able to provide that, then now we just open up the door for families. And I'm certain that Brett will probably speak to that as well. But yes, I mean, that's really where we pull in a ton of low income youth through community support.
And Jim's got a great story of one of our athletes from Amy's, the bike that we got donated. He used all through high school to go to job. Like, in other words, it didn't just change his life for that day.
sure.
Right. It really gave him opportunities through high school. So this is the type of thing that, your volunteer and your leadership help us accomplish.
We've also been able to find some grants to help offset those costs as well, not specifically to this year. So this race, actually, the registration didn't open until mid-May, correct? And we pulled the trigger and kind of took a leap of faith on this. So the fact that we actually have almost 100 participants right now is really good.
Yes.
It's really good.
I just think like through our Daymaker program where people can contribute $5 to $500, whatever you want, and it all goes to, X amount of spots that include bike, goggle, all the stuff you're saying, plus the cost of the enrollment. I think we could fund
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I would love to look into that, and even things as, possibly you are a more affluent parent in the community and you want to sign up. And then we give the option to sponsor another child. So
Those
you're
are great.
paying for your kid. And
Like
now
with
you're paying
every
for
other
another.
registration.
That's a
There's
great
an-
idea.
There's an option to
So-
click here to donate.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think all of that,
Yeah.
is definitely.
Are they next?
Sorry.
No, I'm
Stop
sorry.
talking.
Excuse
me.
Okay. All of those ideas for 2023, we will, definitely take in.
Great.
You heard of Jill's house?
Yes.
Very good. Excellent. All right. Supernova Library Project. Brett, you're up.
All right. Hi, guys.
Hi.
So, first of all, I'm sorry that I can't be there. My husband and I both have COVID right now. So we made it through the hard part. Now we got this new variant that really kind of wiped us out this week. So anyhow, I'm sorry that I'm not there to see your smiling faces, but thank you for letting me share some details. So, well, I'll just go back to the super here for the scholarship. So we reach out to a bunch of different shelters in the area. And right now, all 8 of those kids are from the Reston, from Laurel Learning. So we're hoping we can continue to bring in some kids from the other shelters. There is an issue as far as the distance and the travel, because the families, they're in Falls Church, they're in Vienna, they're in Manassas, so all different locations. And so in the past, the shelters have paid for them to Uber. So we're still working out the particulars. I'm hoping to see that number will continue to grow a little bit this week. Our deadline is coming up on the 24th, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to be getting some more kids from Laurel Learning. I think it's just a little bit of a drag getting everybody to register, but it will happen. So I'm confident that we'll get at least 10 more kids from Laurel Learning, so that will bring it up to 18.
Excellent.
And then, the Supernova Library Project is something I started at Laurel Learning. It's it just involves me going in there, reading with the kids. It was on a monthly basis for a little while, and then now with summer, I'm hoping it will start again in September. And then looking for grants and looking for support in the community to help me fund an initiative where not only am I reading with the kids and doing a craft, I also can give the kids a book at the end where they can build their own home library. So that's the ultimate goal of the program. And I've worked with Mary and Tara to apply for some grants. Nothing's come in yet, but my fingers are crossed.
Thanks so much, Brett. Figure it out. All right, give Miguela. Was Suzanne coming here? She was going to come, wasn't she?
I think so.
Can you kind of give us an update on the?
Sure, absolutely. So the gala for this year is on October 1st at the Reston Community Center again. Nominations are, the nomination link is open for the Community Hero Awards. That will close the second week of August. And let's see. We've got a great committee. The next committee meeting is next Monday. Highlights of the plan enhancements, save the date notices are going to go out. We've opened nominations earlier this year. We're going to create more setup time before the event. That was a little hairy for the team last year. Some streamlined food options. We actually just yesterday, there's a winery out in Ashburn that is going to come and do a pop-up bar for us. So that's kind of cool. That's a new donor. Fewer auction items that are higher quality. So it kind of goes back to what James was saying as well. We want to mix up a variety of it this year. We are working on the MC piece that will be announced probably next week. We're going to have a self-service photo booth, and then we're looking at bringing in a Wi-Fi hotspot if we decide to go with the electronic auction again. That was a big problem there last year. If we don't go electronic and we go back to paper, we won't need the Wi-Fi hotspot. So that's something Suzanne's going to be making a decision on too in the next couple of days. She wants to sleep on it a little bit more.
Great.
So with less auction items, I think that we can pull off a paper auction. The squares worked out very, very well at the golf tournament. So that swiping experience was great. And now Venmo just came out with a charity option, and people love Venmo. So that's going to be another transaction point of sale option for us as well, to use Venmo. So I think that will make things go really, really fast because you don't need to swipe, you just Venmo. Super easy. We'll have a Port Cost Village again. We are allotting one ticket per Port Cost if they participate in the village. We'll have awarded videos again and printed invitation. We talked about the auction. We may go back to paper, and some AV support. So Chris will be creating some videos again this year.
Excellent. Excellent. And but the big thing to take away from today is applications are being accepted for these community, these core cause heroes. So, I know you're not just a board member here, you're active in your community. If you see something going on out there that you think, wow, this really, take the lead and help us submit an application on their behalf to give them the recognition that sometimes goes unthanked.
Okay, so I'm up next.
Okay.
You advance the next slide, please, Doug. Before, and this is the time of the board meeting on Zoom where I turn my camera off. And I read to you. So my camera's off. And I just wanted to review our core cause program, which spans a vast array of charitable missions. There are many reasons why social entrepreneurs come to us or actually choose to engage a fiscal sponsor. And if we go to the next slide. They could be individuals who simply wish to fundraise for a worthy cause, or students fulfilling a school project, or they could have established organizations and trying to test the potential success of their charitable project idea, or just seeking guidance on their existing programs. So, next slide. As you can see, their missions are as diverse as their communities. I'm not going to call out, Doug's already talked a little bit about Friends of Lake Anne and Rest in Pride, and those are all of our active core causes right now. And the reason why I just wanted to remind you is because it's a lot of times hard to get the concept of what we do with fiscal sponsorship and who our core causes are and how they come about. So I was hoping when we wrap up the board meeting here in a little while and we transition into the strategic planning, that you all might think about ways that we can improve the service that we provide our core causes to enable them to best meet their charitable goals.
This is excellent, Mary.
Thanks.
Mary, what are the charitable goals established by each core? Are they different for each core cause?
So in the center are their missions, and you know, there's a wide variety. You've got food insecurity and community support, youth mentoring, active lifestyle with the sports, humanitarian support, which brings in our international side with causes that, for example, Friends of American Aid inside Ukraine, who was a referral from Unlocking Potential. They're out in California, but they have a project that will be going through Romania to help Ukrainian relief. A similar project that we did based out of Virginia, Friends of, how to pronounce this, Zimu by me, and they work through Poland to help provide refugee support. And then we look at Eleanor Liz, who's continuing Eleanor Roosevelt's legacy. That's actually a global campaign. They're based out of California. We've got the Pride community, and I think I mentioned food insecurity. So, you know, they're very diverse.
Excellent.
Oh, you asked about financial goals?
I was, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. So financial goals, well, you'll find that some of our projects, the ones that maybe bring in the least amount of money, have some of the largest impact. For example, Essentials for Education. They sourced desks during COVID period, desks that I think were going to be gotten rid of by the school board, and went and picked them up and then delivered them to students in need, which was similar to Woodworking with a Purpose, who actually built desks. So some of the other programs that you know, I say they test their ideas. For example, mentor them, and he realized that project, if it's going to happen, is going to happen in 2023, right? And then you've got projects like the two humanitarian support that thought that they were going to come in and raise a lot of money and go straight in to helping people in Ukraine. But what did Joshua tell us the other day? That their support people have turned into soldiers, and not all of them are still here with us.
Okay.
So, you know, there's the missions change, but you know.
So it's not a revenue goal.
It is not a revenue
mission. Raising revenue.
which goes back to why we have internal projects.
What does that mean, the internal projects?
Like
Our fundraising.
the fundraising events,
Yes.
And it depends too on the core cost leader, like Woodworking with a Purpose has taken a little bit of a break this year. MG's taken a little bit of a break to focus on her career. It doesn't mean the project's going away, it just means that that leader can't get as much time right now. So some of these projects are ongoing and their budget goals may change based on that year and that project. Some of them are also event driven versus like Rest and Pride, they do most of their fundraising in 2 month period. They have a Rest and Pride event and then they kind of coast the rest of the year. So their revenue goes like this in their goals. So it just really depends on the project. And we give that, that leverage to the core cost to let them decide on their mission and how they like, you know, to treat their budget, as long as, our motto too is that you can't spend what you don't have in the bank account. So if they have, you know, they need to submit a project plan and a budget for their event before they spend money in their account.
Okay, so a very brief 2022 H1 operations update. I wanted to share that our accounting process updates have proven successful.
I would, we should take this offline. I think we've made some progress, but I went through our numbers and I think and support for them. So let's talk about that offline. We still have work to do.
Well, I just was going to say that we are operating now in a more efficient, timely, and streamlined manner.
Okay.
And
Is that
we're
fair?
not there.
You're not there?
We're not there, but we're way ahead of where we were in January when we came on board as treasurer. What would you say?
I would say it's definitely much better.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Well, I think what we have some accounting things that we still need to dig into in terms of some very simple request of, if we like write a check for $9,000 to the police, we need that invoice attached.
Right.
So like, well, that is where I just successful, we're not there yet.
Okay.
So we need,
And I'm sure that is not attached. And so,
Well, what Danielle's saying is where we're trying to get to. We've made a lot of progress to Mary's point. What
yes,
we're trying to get to is if our treasurer, if the IRS, if anybody went into the books and saw a charge, right, that they could immediately see what that was for, the correspondent. And I'm trying to work on automating some of that a little bit, but we kind of know what the North Star is. To Danielle's point right now, when she went in to check, probably wasn't quite there yet, right, in terms of, so that piece. And I think that's just, there's a couple other things too. But given where we were in January, if you remember that discussion there where we didn't have copies of checks that were in there, we didn't have any of that, all that piece is now, we've made some progress there.
we definitely made progress.
Yeah.
Yes.
okay, there's also been a legal review and update of our fiscal sponsor agreement. I think we can feel confident now that the content is acceptable to high-level professionals, and I especially want to thank Gina for that. We are also compliant with state charity registrations in Virginia, California, and Maryland. There is an updating process for Virginia. Danielle had pointed out that it said 5 localities instead of the entire state. That goes back to the 2019 application when I originally, not knowing what I was doing, submitted it because we knew we needed to have some sort of process there, and so the compliance company that we're working with researched that, found out what needed to be done. Doug, you should have received this week, if not, okay, a form that you and Danielle will need to sign.
Okay.
Which will be to do the correct form, and I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but I submitted 103 or 2, and it's supposed to be 100, so that is completed and ready for you to get signature and to be submitted.
Great.
And then finally, Doug, if you go to the next slide, I think I have a number slide.
We'll find it here.
Okay.
It's my first time working with the TV. There we go.
Security assessment is
Yeah.
complete.
Do you want me to go to Dennis's slides now, or?
Yes, you
Okay.
already met Dennis here, who's my mentor. I wanted to thank you, Dennis, for the 6 months of weekly 1-hour Zoom calls.
Mhm.
Yeah, that, and the training and the guidance that you so generously contributed, and which has enabled CORE to tackle some very detailed IT issues. Which I'll turn over to you.
You may drive.
There's some builds.
Okay. I think what we have to do,
Did we win?
I think what we have to do is,
What?
these are the arrows right here.
They
Yeah.
won
Yeah.
15 games. What are you talking about? Don't act surprised.
They beat us in swim, Doug. They beat us swim.
Okay, in a minute.
No, I may later on.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
My son swam against their swim team today.
Oh.
And they were our rival, and apparently we lost.
So he wants.
Well,
I thought you said.
I'm in his
Well,
home, so I'll give him that.
we'll let Dennis go,
Yes.
yeah.
I want to see you guys better. All right, so to Mary's earlier introduction, we met during one of the tri events, the wrestling tri, when I was an athlete, still am, but I said, you need any help, right? We just got started chatting, and lo and behold, she reached out to me a little bit later and said yes, and we formed a partnership ever since. So my engagement's gotten more and more involved over time, and here I am. I think deeply committed to CORE, but all the things that it tries to get done. And my particular expertise, I've been in technology for 30 plus years. Prior to starting my own little cybersecurity firm, I was a chief technology officer for a bunch of different companies, including The Economist and different companies you guys may or not have heard of over the years, Monster.com, places like that. But so I'll give you guys a quick sense of what we did in that time, and I'll try not to bore you too much.
Before, this is so important as we go to the next level. From large grantees, large core causes, I mean, they come in. Data, it's so important that we can secure all of that. So that's why we're so grateful. That is a very valuable.
Yeah, and as you'll see, there's a lot of risk that you All right, so see if maybe. Yeah, all right. Are the folks still on the phone?
They're on mute,
Okay,
but I think it looks like they're there.
okay. All right, so as I like to call this, right, we're actually protecting not only ourselves, but our customers, because the cause leaders are our customers and we're working with them. And so it's protecting them as much as it is actually the core foundation. I always start with this, right, what I call them the not so fun facts of the world of cybersecurity.
how do we understand and manage the risk that is something so as I said earlier, you guys are legally responsible not only for your own